So this is Romans chapter 10. So this is Paul writing to the people of Rome. Because if you confess with your lips that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For one believes with the heart and so is justified, and one confesses with the mouth and so is saved. I picked this verse to talk about tonight because, in particular, we had a worship night at the church that I work at last night, and we talked about this verse. We talked about confession, and one thing that stuck out to me is our lead pastor said, "Hey, confession doesn't have to be, isn't always, this thing that you sinned. Confession doesn't always have to be, oh, I did this bad thing, or I did this thing wrong. Confession could be a good thing. Like when we confess that Jesus is Lord, that's what we're doing. We're agreeing with what is true, that Jesus is Lord. And I want to confess that as much as possible. Like felt real convicted in that space. Like, I need to confess that more. I don't want to be living a life where I'm not confessing that every day. I need to be confessing that every day, that Jesus is Lord. Because when I'm confessing that, and I believe that, that's going to keep it at the front of my mind. That is going to make sure that when there are other things that are vying for that space in my heart, confessing it, Jesus is Lord, is going to keep that there. Right? It's going to keep that in front of me. And so, like I said, that was just pressed on my heart last night. Like, I need to confess that every day. Jesus is Lord. Confess with your lips that Jesus is Lord. So you're going to start, the whole point of this whole thing is, yeah, I like playing video games. Sure, I was interested in streaming. I wanted to see it, that kind of thing. I want to do it, right? But the whole purpose of this was to be a light in a dark space, and the gaming community can be a dark space. There's a lot of communities that find, just that community with one another, and they're not always uplifting and positive and encouraging. Some are, absolutely, but I want this to be a space where it's no doubt why I'm doing this, and I'm doing this because Jesus is Lord. And anybody who watches a clip, anybody who tunes into a live stream, I don't want anything to be confused about that. That is what I believe. And that's how I want to live my life. That's how I want to live my life with my wife. In our marriage, Jesus is Lord. In my relationship with my boys, my two boys that I'm raising with my wife, in those relationships, Jesus is Lord. At work, Jesus is Lord. In this space, Jesus is Lord. When I'm mowing the grass, Jesus is Lord. I want everything to be on that. That is the focus. That is the center, right? Jesus is Lord, and I want to confess that as much as possible. So, that's what I'm going to do from now on. Like I said, you're probably going to start seeing that popping up in different places, in captions, in whatever, because I don't want it to be confused or confusing.